Hi all. Intervals is something that we've struggled with before, both in regards to the last video and also that lesson that we had with chords where certain people started crying. So we're going to recap intervals. Intervals are just fancy names for gaps between notes that we can count with semitones. So we know a semitone is the smallest gap we can do on a keyboard, but that single semitone gap can also be called a minor second interval. Now I'm going to go through the different intervals while I put it up on the screen. One semitone is a minor second, two semitones is a major second, three semitones is a minor third, four semitones is a major third, five semitones is a perfect fourth, six semitones is a weird one because it's an augmented fourth or a diminished fifth, or we can call it a tritone. Seven semitones is a perfect fifth, eight semitones minor sixth or augmented fifth, nine semitones is a major sixth, 10 semitones is a minor seventh, 11 semitones is a major seventh, and then 12 semitones is an octave. And as you see there's two different types of thirds, a major third or a minor third, and two different types of sevenths, a major seventh or a minor seventh. And we'll see how they're important once we start to build chords. So we're going to stick with the chords that we worked out in the last video. Our C major scale has these notes and these chords. But why are some of them major, why are some of them minor, and what's with that B chord? Let's go through it with the intervals now. So the first chord, the tonic, that's a C major chord because the distance, the interval between that root and that third is 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones. So a major third means that's a major chord. The next chord, quite handy for this demonstration, is a minor chord. It's D minor because the distance between the root and the third here is only 1, 2, 3 semitones. So it's a minor third, that makes that a minor chord. Same for the next chord, it's E with a minor third in there. So that's a E minor chord. F has 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones as that gap between the root and the third. That makes it a major chord. Same for G. 1, 2, 3, 4 semitone gap. That's a major third in there, makes it a major chord. Next one, A. It's a minor chord because 1, 2, 3 semitones, minor chord. And then the B is a weird one because it's got a minor third in there. 3 semitones as the gap, but it's also only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 semitones as the gap between the root and the fifth. So it's a flat fifth or a diminished fifth that makes that a B diminished chord. And I'll recap all of those slowly and put the information on the screen. What about sevenths then? I'm going to pick on 3 of the chords to show you the 3 different types of sevenths that happen. So let's start with that C major chord. The naturally occurring 7 there is a major seventh because the distance between this note and this note is 11 semitones. On your little chart, that's a major seventh. So a major chord plus a major seventh equals a major 7 chord, Maj 7. I'm going to pick on A this time because it's a minor chord with a minor 7. That gap there is only 10 semitones, so it is a minor 7th on top of a minor chord. So that is a minor 7 chord, an M7 chord. And then G is quite a fun one because it's a major chord, but it's also got a minor 7th in it there. So that is a major chord with a minor 7th. You see that's only 10 semitones. A major chord with a minor 7th equals a dominant 7 chord, or just 7. So that's G7 or G dominant 7. And I know what you're thinking, what about that pesky B diminished chord? It's got a minor third in there, and the naturally occurring 7 is a minor 7th. So we have a minor chord, sort of, with a minor 7th. So it should be B minor 7, except that diminished fifth means it's actually B minor 7 flat 5. So again, I'll recap all of the chords in that C major scale with their 7s and the information on the screen. And remember, we're using Roman numerals because this applies to all of the major scales, not just C major. So I'm going to do the same thing, but for F major instead. My F major scale is this. And the chords are... All right, to summarize, intervals are just fancy names for gaps between notes. We can count those gaps with semitones. Different amounts of semitones equal different intervals. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones, that's a major third. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 semitones is a perfect fifth. But that applies anywhere. If I start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a major third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's a perfect fifth. And these intervals are what create the two different types of basic triad. So a major third goes into a major triad. A minor third is part of a minor triad. And on top of that, we can mix and match with major and minor sevenths. So you can have a major chord with a major seventh, and that equals a major seventh chord. You can have a minor chord with a minor seventh, and that creates a minor seventh chord. And you can have a major chord with a minor seventh, which creates a dominant seventh chord. Hopefully you can take at least 3 things away from this video. 1, that you know what intervals are. 2, that you know what the 3 different types of seventh chords are and how they're put together. And lastly, that when you're locked to using only the notes within a scale, it is the intervals themselves that create the different types of chords, major, minor, or diminished.